Hello, my name is Matthias and welcome to the FPL Scope and this video where I'm going to be talking about whether it's a good idea to free hit or not. And I do have some experience in the matter because I just used the free hit chip myself in Game Week 3. So we're going to take a look at how my Game Week 3 went with the free hit chip activated. We're also going to take a look at my original team and see how that did comparatively. We're also going to take a look at my Game Week 4 plans now that I am done with the free hit and I'm coming back to my original team, because that is the thing that people often forget when it comes to the free hit chip. You don't only want to get a high score when you use the free hit chip in that particular game week, but you also would like ideally it to be a game week that is really a struggle between two other game weeks that you do quite like. Because in my instance, for example, I really like my Game Week 2 squad, which did score pretty well. I also really like my Game Week 4 squad, but I did not like my Game Week 3 squad going into that game week at all. So that is one of the main reasons that I did use the free hit. I had planned on that before the game or before the season even started, and I think it worked out pretty well. So let's just go through it straight away. I did get 58 points, which is not ideal. You hopefully would want to get more points on your free hit, but it's not really that bad of a score either. I did get a green arrow, a game week rank of around 2 million, which is like decent, but not the best. But I think it was still a pretty good game week to free hit in. But I don't only have experience from using the free hit in game week 3. All of last season and even the first two game weeks this season, I have selected a free hit squad every single time for my team selection videos. So I do have a lot of experience and seeing how well the free hit team scores compared to your own original team, because I did this throughout all of last season, like I just mentioned. And I don't think I did that much better with my free hit squads in total than I did with my own team, actually. My own rank for the whole of last season was 53,000, which is decent enough, I guess. I was a bit disappointed with it personally, but it is a really good rank in general. And my free hit squad rank, like the free hits every single game week from game week 1 until game week 38, the cumulative score of those 38 teams would have ranked around like 20k as well. So I did better with the free hit squad, the free selection of transfers, but it is by no means a guarantee to get a high, like super high score. So 58 points, pretty happy with that. Pretty happy with mostly my decision making in general. There's just one big glaring mistake, and that's the fact that I went with Dorgu as my third Man United pick rather than Fernandes. And that's honestly the way I should looked at it, because going into the game week, my thought was I'm going to have 4 defenders and 3 midfielders, because I do have 4 defenders that I quite like, and I'm really struggling to find that 4th midfielder that I do like, really. But I should have just looked at it with the Man United pick in general, because obviously with Dorgu as one of my defensive picks, I was locked in with 3 Man United players, and I didn't have another Man United midfielder to select from. So my alternatives between Elanga, Sarr, and a couple other players just didn't quite like them enough to have them confidently in my team. I just had one of them on the bench, and sadly that was Elanga with 1 point rather than Sarr with 7 points. Sarr was actually a really good pick in general, not only as a free hit pick for game week 3, but also as like a transfer, honestly, before the game week. But now he's gotten injured. Really bad luck for you guys, because he could have had more points in game week 3 in general, and also had 2 really nice fixtures in game week 4 and 5 that he will not likely be playing in anymore. So yeah, unlucky if you picked Sarr there. But when it comes to my own team in game week 3, my free hits team, like I mentioned, I should have just looked at it. Dorgu versus Fernandes. Who do I want more? Who do you think is the better pick? And obviously it was Fernandes before the game week, and it is obviously now after the game week with Dorgu not even playing and Fernandes getting 10 points. Fernandes was the better pick. So that is my one big regret. I would have gained 9 points from that, because I would have just had Fernandes playing and Elanga staying on the bench. Or I would have just had Fernandes rather than Elanga in my team, and I would have had 9 more points, would have had 67 points, which would have been a really nice game week score as well. But 58, still pretty happy with that. I did bring in some Chelsea players that I didn't have, Cucurella and Joao Pedro. 6 points from Cucurella, 9 points from Joao Pedro. Also was able to bring in Haaland, who I did captain. He was the one that I was the most confident in captaining, and honestly, after the game week, I think that was the right decision. Even though he didn't get the most points, he looked like the best player, and actually was like the most likely player to get a lot of points. Because yes, like someone like Szoboszlai got 13 points, got more points than Haaland, but who could have foreseen him scoring 13 points against Arsenal? Like, it is really tough to gauge which players are going to be the best scoring players each and every game week. So yeah, pretty happy with my squad all over, pretty much. One huge drawback, obviously Dango did blank as well, getting 2 points. He was close to scoring, got a goal that's disallowed, which was really close, sadly. But like the one big blemish on the free hit squad was the fact that I had selected 3 Nottingham Forest players against West Ham at home, which I thought looked like a good idea going into the game week, of course, because Nottingham Forest had beaten Brentford quite convincingly in the first game, 3-1. Brentford looked pretty good in game week 2 against Aston Villa as well. And then they had drawn 1-1 Nottingham Forest against Palace away, which was also a tough fixture considering Palace drew Chelsea in the first game week. So I thought Nottingham Forest looked good. I thought West Ham looked really, really bad. And that's like one of the main reasons that I wanted to free hit, or like one of the main, like some of the main players that I wanted for my free hit team in Game Week 3 was the Nottingham Forest players at home to West Ham. I thought that was going to be a really good game week for those guys. Sells in goal, Milenkovic in defense, and Wood in attack, especially with how bad West Ham looked from set pieces. I thought Milenkovic and Wood would be a really good duo in that fixture. But obviously, Sells 2 points, Milenkovic 1 point, Wood 2 points. Did not work out as planned. And that was one of the drawbacks that I had mentioned in my video last week, where I said why you should free hitting in game 3. I had some cons as well to free hitting in game 3, and that was the fact that we have not had that many game weeks so far. We don't really know which teams are good and which teams are bad. It's going to be really hard to gauge, and that's still the case in game 4 as well if you're looking to free hitting game 4. So that's another tip. If you're looking to free hitting game 4, one of the drawbacks is that we still don't really know which teams are good, which teams are bad, especially coming off of international break, which is another drawback to free hitting in game 4. Don't really know who's going to be affected by international break and the travels there. For example, like Joao Pedro is going to play in Bolivia like 4 days before he plays in game week 4. Who knows if he's going to be ready and fit to play in that game week, playing in the altitude, like super high up in the mountains in Bolivia, with the time difference, the travel, everything, potentially playing time. Maybe he plays 2 90-minute matches for Brazil. Who knows what's going to happen with Joao Pedro? So he might not be the best pick in game 4. It's going to be tough to choose in game 4, but like usually if he was fully rested and fit, him against Brentford would be a really good player to have. So yeah, game 4 is a bit of a tricky fixture tricky game week to free hit in anyway, but maybe it works out better for your squad if your squad is looking super bad for game 4. If you have Triple Forest now, they struggled against West Ham at home. Imagine how much they'll struggle against Arsenal away. So like there are reasons to free hit, but there are also some drawbacks. Yeah, basically. But anyways, for my free hit team in game 3, pretty happy with it. The Forest players did not perform that well. That was like the one major flaw, apart from the Man United thing where I should have just gone with Fernandes, Mbeumo, and Cunha, all 3 of them. That was the safest choice. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with my game 3 score. And even like the Forest fixture, I didn't get any points or an FPL from that. But as a West Ham fan, I'm super happy to see West Ham beat Forest 3-0 in that game. So I had a good game week overall, apart from the Man United game where I really wish I had Fernandes, because that was basically the whole game. I was just worried, are Man United going to get a penalty? And they had several penalty shouts. It just wasn't the most enjoyable experience either, which is something that you want for your free hit team as well. Just a team you can just enjoy and watch and have fun with, really. And that's probably like a big reason why people are looking to free hit in game 4 as well, because they had 3 miserable game weeks and they want just something good for game 4. But yeah, I'm not completely sure if it's the best game week to free hit in, but again, it is dependent on your team and what your team is looking like for that game week. We can also take a look, like speaking of that, that was my decision making for game week 3 to use the free hit, because my team in game week 3 was not looking good at all going into the game week. And as you can see from the score, it didn't really score that well either, with 40 points. This is, if I hadn't free hitted it, I would have had 40 points on my team. This is without transfers though, so that is a bit of a difference, but I'm actually going to talk about that as well. But yeah, so in my team, I had Sells in goal, obviously 2 points. Just talked about how Nottingham Forest struggled against West Ham. In defense, Gabriel, Agbador, and Richards. Richards did get a lot of points, 8 points, but that was against Aston Villa. I did expect Aston Villa to score in that game. Kind of surprised. That's usually a high-scoring game, but Aston Villa looked dreadful, so Richards got 8 points. He was one of the best performing players. Another one of the best performing players was Jared Bowen with 9 points. He easily could have had 2 goals actually against Nottingham Forest. He was really close to getting another one after a really nice solo ride. Solo raid? I don't know. But anyways, he got 9 points. That was not expected away to Nottingham Forest. He was one of the players that I actually really looked into selling for that game week, as you can see from my transfer options there. He got 9 points and Mateta got 5 points. That was the only 3 players that returned in my original team: Richards, Mateta, and Bowen. And honestly, Palace players against Aston Villa, I didn't really expect much from those players. So as you can see from my Game Week 3 team, it did not look good before the free hit, and I did gain 18 points from it. Even if I had done the first transfer option of doing Palmer to Mbeumo and Bowen to Wood, I would have had the same points, 40 points, if I had Captain Wood, which was actually my idea going into the game week. As you can see from my free hit team, I actually had Mbeumo as my vice captain, but that was just to mark who I did like the most out of the Man United midfielders, really. I did prefer Mbeumo over the other ones, like I mentioned in my team selection video for that game week. But I also had Wood as my vice captain for the team selection video, so he would have been the player that I would have captained if I'd done these transfers, I think. So I would have ended up with 40 points, but even if I had done Mbeumo captain, that would have been 48 points. So it still would have been 6 points away from, or 8 points away. Let's go back to the free team actually. 10 points away, yeah, from my score, even if I had captained Mbeumo. Could obviously done just Palmer to Mbeumo and kept Bowen and captained Mbeumo. Then I would have had closer to, I would have had 2 points less, but I still would have made a transfer. I would have had one less transfer to use as well, and I would have had Mbeumo rather than having Palmer, who could be a good pick for Gaming 4 if he's fit to play, or just the option to sell Palmer to a better performing player than Mbeumo from Gaming 4 onwards. Because that was one of the other main reasons that I did free hitting Gaming 3. I really like Man United players against Burnley in the fixture, but I didn't really like Man United players before and after Gaming 3. And that is still the case. Like, I don't think Mbeumo was the best pick going forward. He is a pretty solid pick. He looked pretty good in that game against Burnley, but the fixtures, Man City away in the first game week now in Gaming 4, does not look good. So I'm pretty happy that I didn't do any transfers regardless. So yeah, this is my regular team. I had some other performing players. You can see on the bench there, El Hadji Malik Diouf with 10 points. Again, that West Ham against Nottingham Forest fixture, or Forest at home to West Ham fixture, did not expect that to be a good fixture for West Ham assets, but 19 points from Bowen and Diouf compared to the 5 points that the Nottingham Forest triple up that I had got. It was not expected at all. But anyways, as you can see, the Gaming 3 team was looking pretty bad. It turned out to be a lot better with the free hit, and especially also looking into Gaming 4, I think you'll have even more reasons to see why I use my free hit in Gaming 3 myself. So this is my team currently in Gaming 4 and my current plans as it just stands right now. As you can see, I do have still 2 free transfers in the bank. I have 1 more game week of data. I have some other advantages as well, including the points that I did get extra from using the free hit in Gaming 3. I have a pretty good outline for the rest of the season, because look at my Gaming 4 squad currently as it stands. It looks pretty damn good. Just disregard the goalkeepers. They are the worst possible, with Sells playing against Arsenal away or Dubravka playing against Liverpool at home. Can't really have a good pick between those two guys. But apart from the goalkeepers, the team is looking pretty damn good. Currently, I have Gabriel Magalhaes and Victor Gyökeres for Arsenal against Nottingham Forest at home. And seeing how bad Nottingham Forest looked and how good Arsenal looked in their home game against Leeds, I think those two guys are really good picks to have. Arsenal players are pretty nice to have in general. Don't have the best fixtures, but for Gaming 7 onwards, you really would want to have them, ideally. So pretty happy to have 2 Arsenal players already in my squad, especially for Gaming 4. Then you also have 2 Crystal Palace players, Richards and Mateta. We just saw how well they did against Aston Villa, and now they're facing Sunderland at home. So that's a much easier fixture for Palace. And I do have Richards and Mateta in my squad for this game week, so pretty excited about that as well. Joachim Andersen against Leeds at home. He is someone that is really, really nice to have. Leeds are not looking that good offensively, and Andersen has been pretty good for defensive contribution numbers, and Fulham have looked pretty solid defensively, so he's also another player that I really like. Cole Palmer, he is a bit of a doubt for Gaming 4, but that's not really that big of an issue, because if he's not ready to play in Gaming 4, I'll just sell him. I think Semenyo is by far the best option currently in midfield. I'm really hyped about Semenyo. I think he's getting way too less hype amongst content creators and stuff. And that's most likely down to the fact that he has his best fixture on paper, at least in Game Week 6, where a lot of content creators are looking to free hit themselves. But honestly, I don't think free hitting in Game Week 6 is that good, because most people are doing it to bring in City players and Haaland specifically. But I think Haaland permanently is better to get in Game Week 6 rather than for just one game week only. I think most people will want to move to Haaland at that point, because Haaland is looking like the best player in FPL currently, as it just stands right now. So I think free hit Game Week 6 is a bit of a mistake, and one of the other reasons that I think it is a mistake is the fact that Semenyo is someone that you could disregard if you're free hitting in Game Week 6. I see a lot of people just looking at other options. Paquetá, who is a good option for that matter, but I think Semenyo is just a better pick. He's been so good so far this season. I think he's someone that I would want to have permanently, which you could still do. Even if you do free hitting Game Week 6, you could still bring in Semenyo and have him, but that's like one of the main things people are looking to have for Game Week 6. Free hit is Bournemouth player, so yeah, that was just a bit of an aside, but I don't think free hit Game Week 6 is like that good on paper, honestly, even though it is the most popular game week to free hit by far amongst content creators currently. But anyways, moving on with the team, Palmer is someone that I do quite like if he is healthy and fit to play, because he has Brentford away. That is a pretty good fixture in general for Chelsea, and Palmer is someone that is really good on penalties. He is playing for a really good performing Chelsea team, so if he's fit to play, he might be someone that I do just stay with. Honestly, I could do the third option of just standing pat and not doing any transfers if Palmer is fit to play, because I do quite like this team in general. Rodgers against Everton away. I think Everton have been pretty leaky defensively. It depends if they get Branthwaite back or not, but I think this could be a good fixture for Rodgers anyway, so I don't really mind keeping him. Tijana Rangers hasn't looked that good in Game Week 2 and Game Week 3, but I think in the right games, like we saw in Game Week 1 against Wolves, when Man City are performing well and they don't play these bogey teams like Spurs and Brighton, which they also lost against last season, I think Rangers could be really good. Against Man United, that could be a good game week for him, so I do quite like him for this game week as well. Bowen is the final striker that I haven't talked about. Spurs at home. Before Game Week 3, this looked like the really bad fixture because Spurs had kept clean sheets in Game Week 1 and Game Week 2. I did say that I was a bit skeptical of their defense. I didn't think they looked that good defensively in Game Week 1 and Game Week 2. And in Game Week 3, they really struggled against Bournemouth, conceded a goal, could easily concede more. So I think Bowen is actually a pretty good pick now, especially with how good West Ham looked and how up for it West Ham will be for this game. Because Spurs at home is a really good fixture, or is the main fixture that West Ham are focusing on every single week, or every single season, I should say, because that is West Ham's biggest rival, and they're always up for that game. And I think Bowen has a pretty good chance of scoring goals in that game. Also, for that matter, my bench is looking pretty good. Again, disregard the goalkeeper, De Barca against Liverpool, that's not that good. But the rest of my bench, I'm actually quite happy with as well, which is why I'm considering even bench boosting in Game Week 4, which is kind of crazy for you guys if you're going into this video trying to see a free hit team because you don't like your free hit or your Game Week 4 squad. My squad is so good that I would potentially bench boost with it, honestly. And one of the big reasons for that is Josh King playing against Leeds at home. I think that's a really good fixture. In general, Leeds lost 5-0 away to Arsenal. They have looked really solid at home so far this season, but away, they really struggle against Arsenal at least. So I think Josh King, who scored a goal that should have been counted against Chelsea, he looks really good in general. I think he's someone that I would ideally not want to bench. That's also why I might just stand pat and just bench Palmer and start King, even if Palmer is not fit to play in Game Week 4. But most likely I would sell Palmer if he's injured because, yeah, I don't want to spend 10 million on someone that doesn't even play. But King is the one that I could easily start. Quite like him in general. So he's on the bench. Diouf against Spurs at home, just like I said with Bowen. West Ham are going to be super up for that game. Diouf has 2 games in a row with assists. He easily could have scored in Game Week 1. He still actually looks like a really good pick, especially now if West Ham look as good as they looked in Game Week 3. He's going to be a really good choice, who I do not really want to bench either. And finally, Agbado against Newcastle away. On paper, it doesn't look that good. Newcastle have traditionally been a good team. And it's actually a team that a lot of people are looking to choose players from for the free hit in Game Week 4. But after having Newcastle players in Game Week 3 for the free hit, I'm a bit put off by Newcastle players in general because they looked pretty awful offensively against Leeds in Game Week 3. And I think this might be more of a struggle for them as well than people do expect. Because, yeah, they are still without Anthony Gordon. He's still suspended. They have made 2 new striker signings with Isak going out now to Liverpool finally. They have made signings with Voltemade and Wissa. But I'm not sure if either of those guys are going to be fit and ready to play in Game Week 4. Because Wissa has not played any matches so far in preseason. He has been training with Brentford, but he's not really going to be match fit. And Voltemade is someone that has just joined the Premier League. He needs to get acclimatized to the league, so I'm not sure if he's going to be ready to play either. So I don't really think Newcastle are going to be that good. They haven't been that good offensively this season. They have been good defensively, but offensively they haven't really shown that much. So I think Wolves actually have like an okay chance of getting a clean sheet. But of course, people are going to point to Wolves being really bad so far this season, but I think it's kind of overrated how bad they have been because they have had really tough opponents to play against. First game week, play against Man City. We know how good Man City can be on their day, especially when they score the first goal. Second game week for Bournemouth, or for Wolves, they played Bournemouth, who have looked really, really good so far, especially offensively. And third game week, they played Everton, who have been electric offensively. So they've had 3 really tough matches, Wolverhampton. And I think Newcastle might be the best fixture that they have had so far. So I think that it's not like really beyond reasonable doubt or whatever. I don't think it's like completely insane to think that Agbado could get a clean sheet against Newcastle away, because honestly I think that looks better than Richards against Aston Villa last game week, where he did get 8 points and Palace kept the clean sheet. So I do quite like my bench. I might bench boost, but we'll see whether I do that or not. But that's not really the point of this video. I'm going to talk more about this in the team selection video right closer to the deadline. But what you're wondering now is what is the best potential free hit team for Game Week 4? And I'm going to take a look at that as well. But like I said, it's Also, not the best time to settle on a free hit team because you're going to get so much more information with the international break and everything. Could be injuries, there could be players that look a lot better. There could be, maybe we get to know that Isak starts, then that will change a lot of things. The international break as well. Like I said, if Joao Pedro doesn't play, he comes back early and is ready to play in Game Week 4, he could be a really good pick. So a lot of things can happen between now and Game Week 4 deadline, really. So this is just to give you an outline of what my ideal team would look like for free hit currently as it stands. So I'll just go through it quickly from goalkeeper all the way through all the players that I have in the squad. But yeah, one of the main reasons, like I mentioned, I think previously in the video, one of the main reasons why you might want to activate your free hit chip early, even though it is a bit early with the international break and so many things happening before the deadline, is the fact that the two main players in the squad, my captain and vice captain, are Haaland and Salah. I think those two are the two best players in Game Week 4, and they're really expensive, so you won't have that much left for the rest of the team. As you can see from this team, I have a lot of cut price options, and I don't have the likes of Gyökeres, Palmer, and Virgil van Dijk, who I have as good alternatives if you have more money in the bank, if you drop either Salah or Haaland. But honestly, I think Salah and Haaland are mainstays in this team. Haaland against Man United at home, we've seen how bad Man United have been defensively. Haaland can get a lot of points in this game week, which is why I'm kind of tempted to bring him in myself, honestly, for this game week. That might be something that I do still, but they do have Arsenal in Game Week 5, Man City, so this is actually a better game week to free hit in Haaland in, I think, against Man United, because he's not, like, permanently, he's not the best still, because he has Arsenal, a really tough fixture in Game Week 5. But for just one game week against Man United at home, he could easily be the best captaincy choice, and that's what I think currently is the best captaincy choice, because he's looked so much better than Salah so far. But Salah has scored a lot of points still. He's gotten a goal and an assist so far, at least, and Burnley is the easiest team to play against in the whole league, in my opinion. So I do still think Salah is a really good captaincy option. I would be really torn between Salah and Haaland, and I'm comfortable captaining either one of them. But those two guys are the main two guys I think you should have in your free team in Game Week 4 in general. But yeah, let's go through the team from goalkeeper onwards. I have doubled up with Fulham against Leeds because, like I said, Leeds just haven't looked that good offensively. They've scored one goal so far this season, which was a penalty that they got quite luckily against Everton in Game Week 1. I think that is the team to target when it comes to clean sheets. Even though they are pretty good defensively, Leeds, they're not that good offensively. So I think doubling up with Bernd Leno and Joachim Andersen for Fulham at home against Leeds. Fulham are a really good defensive side. I think that makes a lot of sense for your free hit team. Also really like Crystal Palace players in general. Ismail Assar would have been the ideal candidate, I think, from Crystal Palace, but seeing as he is most likely going to be injured now, it seems like he's going to be injured for Game Week 4. I think a double up on defense is better than a double up in attack, because I don't really think there's any other like viable offensive options apart from Ateta, who I do have in this team. But double up defensively for Crystal Palace is Munoz and Richards. I really like Munoz, just in general. He's so attacking. I think also now with less offensive players available, Sarr being out, Yeremy Pino still not being ready to play, I think Munoz is going to get even more of like an offensive burden on him. So he's going to be super attacking in this game. They still will have a good chance of getting a clean sheet. So I think Munoz is like one of the best players to have in this game week in general. In midfield, apart from Salah, who I just mentioned is a really good candidate against Burnley away, we have Semenyo against Brighton at home. Semenyo is on international duty with Ghana, and that is quite a bit of a flight. It is like an 11-hour flight for Ghana, or to go to Ghana from Bournemouth. So that is something that could potentially hamper Semenyo, but at the same time, it is at least in around the same time zone. I think Ghana is like 1 hour before British time, so jet lag is not really going to be that big of a problem for Semenyo, who's going to fly in private plane with like probably the best possible ways to travel. So I think he's going to be fit and ready to play. But as you can see from this team, I don't really have that many players from teams in South America or in Africa because they have more travel time. There's just less. Just more chances of jet lag and like not being fit and ready to play for Game 4. So I've tried to leave out most of them, but Semenyo I just really like in general. I think he's a fantastic pick, whether you're free hitting or permanently or whatever. He's someone that I really like this season. He's looked so good. Bournemouth have looked so good, and Brighton at home, I think they can easily score several goals in that game as well. Jack Grealish for Everton has looked absolutely fantastic so far as well. I think NDI is probably my favorite pick from Everton still because he's more a goal scoring oriented player. But just for the fact that they're playing Aston Villa, and Aston Villa are in such disarray, Everton are looking so good at home in their second game in their home stadium, having gone off 2 straight wins now on the trot. I think Grealish is going to be a really good candidate in Game Week 4 especially. So it's the storyline game against Aston Villa. It's going to be a really fun game in general. So really excited about Grealish and what he can do in that fixture. So he's made the team as well. And as always with Salah and Haaland, if you have both of them, you need to make some cost-cutting moves. So King, I do quite like him, like I mentioned for my own team. I think he's going to be a really good option in Game Week 4. Probably wouldn't be the player that I would have had if I had unlimited transfers. There are some other good options, Palmer especially, or if Palmer doesn't play, Enzo Fernandez would be a really good option. But King against Leeds at home, like I mentioned previously, he's going to be a really good option this game week as well for a really cheap price. Up front, Haaland I think is fantastic. I think he's the best captaincy option, slightly ahead of Salah. But even then, Liverpool, Salah might not even be the best captaincy option because I think Ekitike might be the best player to have from Liverpool as well. He's looked so good so far this season. Maybe not as much against Arsenal, but Arsenal are a really good team to break, or a really tough team to break down. But Ekitike has looked really good. Of course, Isak is there now. He's probably going to come on and play 20-ish minutes, I think, in this game. But I think Ekitike is going to start. Ekitike is going to start, like I mentioned. And he might even play alongside Isak. I think that's still an option for Liverpool. So I think Ekitike is a really good pick still. Even permanently, I think he's like a decent pick to have, as Isak is still working his way into fitness. But obviously we have to wait and see how Isak looks for Sweden, especially. If he looks amazing for Sweden and ready to play, maybe Ekitike is not the best option and you could go for Isak instead. But again, this team doesn't really have much fun, so I can't really upgrade Ekitike to Isak either with Salah and Haaland anyways. And final player in the starting lab is Mateta, who I do have in my own team as well. Like I mentioned, he is a really good player to have this game week. Sunderland at home is a really good fixture. Mateta is the only attacking Crystal Palace players that you can't really trust. He's on penalties. We know how good he can be. And hopefully he won't get a yellow card for his celebration next time like he did in this past game week. So that's basically the team for the free hit. On the bench, I just have the cheapest possible players, really. Dubravka, Goodmanson, Rodon, and Baleba. Baleba is slightly more expensive than the cheapest possible option, but I had some money left in the bank, so I just figured I should pick him as the final pick for this game week, basically. So that is the team for game week 4 in terms of the free hit. So yeah, you can choose yourself if you want to free hit or not in game week 4. It totally depends on your team. So if you're wondering yourself, if you're really on the cusp to hit that free hit button and activate the free hit, let me know what your team is like in the comment section, and I'll make a judgment whether I think you should free hit or not, or whether I think you should wait to free hit until closer to the deadline until we get more info. I can make an assessment of your team if you post it down below in the comment section, and I'll get back to your team. And any other comments really, whether it's good or bad, criticism or praise, I do respond to pretty much every single comment that I get on my videos. So please comment down below, like the video if you enjoyed the video in general, and subscribe if you haven't already. It would be great to have you on board for this YouTube channel. Like I said, I make a free team every single game week. I make a wildcard team every single game week. You can expect that on this channel regardless of which game week it is. So yeah, stay tuned for that as well. So with all that said, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time. Bye bye.